It's strange, isn't it? That simply wondering out loud can make people choose a side for you. Are you with them or against them? A denier, an alarmist, a skeptic, or a follower? But what if you're just curious, just thinking, just listening? What if the truth is bigger than the slogans? What if the way we talk about the climate isn't the same as understanding it? We often hear that sea levels are rising faster than ever. But when we check the actual numbers, things seem steadier. No spikes, no panic, just a slow, measured trend. And interestingly, once you remove computer models and focus on raw data, that dramatic acceleration disappears. So, is the water really rising, or is the land moving? In some areas, like New York and Florida, the ground is slowly sinking. In others, like Scandinavia, it's still rising after the last ice age. And island nations were told they're sinking. But the strange thing is, many aren't. Tuvalu has grown. So has most of the Maldives. Some islands are actually larger now than they were 40 years ago. The ocean moves, but so does the land. And islands adapt. And while headlines focused on melting ice at the North Pole, the South Pole was quietly growing for nearly 40 years. From the start of satellite observations in 1979 to 2014, Antarctica's sea ice expanded, slowly but steadily, reaching a record extent in late 2014, 3 record highs. And then it dropped. Scientists are still debating why, but for nearly 40 years, the trend was growth, and barely anyone talked about it. So, when we see another dramatic claim, it's fair to ask, how was it measured, and how was it told? In 2023, headlines warned of 48 degrees in Europe, but those weren't air temperatures, they were surface readings. Asphalt, soil, rooftops, and the correction. It came later. Quietly. CO₂ makes up just 0.04% of the atmosphere. Like 4 cents out of $100. It feeds every plant on Earth. And yes, it helps trap heat. But its warming effect doesn't grow forever. The first increase matters most. Each new addition adds a little less, like painting a wall. The first coat covers most. The next just adds a layer. We're told that CO₂ drives the heat, that more emissions mean more warming. But in Earth's history, it's usually the other way around. Warming comes first, then CO₂. If heat came first, then what exactly is CO₂ responding to? Because cause doesn't follow effect. So the next question is obvious. How much has it really warmed? And how do we know? The famous hockey stick graph shows centuries of stable climate, then a sharp spike. But the spike appeared right where the data changed, from tree rings to thermometers around 1960, when people noticed they didn't fix the graph. They searched for a tree that showed the same spike and found one, just one, YAD06. The rest didn't match. Imagine polling 20 people and only quoting the one who said what you needed. Then imagine using that quote to shape the story the world would follow. A 1,000 years ago, the world was warm. Vikings farmed Greenland. Grapes grew in England. Trees climbed higher in the Alps. It's often called local warming, but studies show it was global. So if it was this warm before, without industry or cars, what does that tell us? And here's something else to think about. Greenhouses intentionally increase CO₂ to help plants grow. Many use more than twice what's in the atmosphere now. And millions of years ago, Earth had 5 to 10 times more CO₂, and life flourished. If that level was dangerous, someone forgot to tell the tomatoes. In fact, today, even NASA reports the Earth is getting greener. So, is the weather really more extreme today? Or have we just learned to see it that way? It used to be called global warming, but when some places got colder or didn't change at all, the name became a problem. So we switched to climate change, broader, safer, and harder to question. Because if it's just change, anything counts. Drought, climate change. Floods, also climate change. Same place, opposite events, same explanation. It's like calling your theory. Something happened somewhere. When definitions blur, the message gets louder. When every storm has a name, when every map bleeds red, and every forecast sounds like a warning, fear starts to feel like fact. But history tells a different story. England's worst droughts, the 1760s. Deadliest U.S. hurricane, 1900. Europe's strongest storm, 1703. Deadliest U.S. heat waves, 1936. Thousands died. Extreme weather isn't new. We used to rebuild. Back then, nobody blamed the piano. And even the UN's own panel says most extreme weather can't clearly be linked to climate change. In fact, their own data, IPCC Table 12.12, shows no clear human influence on floods, droughts, or tropical storms. And the climate models they use The latest ones project anywhere from 1.8 to 5.7 degrees by 2100, almost 4 full degrees apart. That's not precision, that's roulette. Not facts, just informed guesses, at best. When we see wildfires, the instinct is alarm. But fire is part of many ecosystems. Some seeds only sprout after burning. Some pine cones only open with heat. Suppressing fire for decades has led to dangerous buildup of dry material. So when fires come, they're more intense. One fire in Siberia released more CO₂ than Germany did that entire year. But nature doesn't track emissions. It just functions. Sometimes, fire isn't disaster. It's nature doing its job. So far, we have seen that CO₂ often follows heat. Sea level trends vary. Extreme weather isn't new, and CO₂ supports life. It's worth asking, if the picture isn't so clear, what are we really afraid of? Fear is powerful. It creates obedience. And then solutions appear. Ban cars, raise prices, shut down farms. Middle-class families struggle, small businesses drown. They call it climate justice, but it looks more like planned obsolescence for people. And while they warn us about the cost of inaction, they rarely mention the cost of their plan. Reaching net zero could cost $275 trillion. That's not a typo. That's more than 3 times the entire world economy. And guess who pays first? The countries that built the most, the ones now being told to slow down. That's not justice. That's decline. They say the future is green. But in 2024, Spain celebrated 100% renewable power and suffered the worst blackout in its history. 53% came from solar, 11% from wind. Too much energy, not enough stability. Solar and wind are often called clean, but building them isn't. Solar panels require toxic materials, mined under harsh conditions, and they're hard to recycle. And even in perfect weather, the grid can't keep up. A system that fails when things go right isn't a system at all. Some say net zero doesn't go far enough. A UK report calls for absolute zero. No flights, no meat, no steel, no cement, no fossil fuels at all by 2050. And it's not just the UK. Dozens of countries now target the same deadline, with no real plan for how life should work. We're told green means clean, but mining for lithium, cobalt, and rare earths comes at a human cost. In Congo, children dig for battery metals. In Chile, lithium extraction dries out ancient aquifers. No fuel is free. No solution comes without a trade-off. Even if the grid worked perfectly, there's still a cost we rarely see. And meanwhile, a new economy has emerged. One built on credits, offsets, and sustainability consultants. Billions flow through the system, not always to fix the climate, but to sustain the system built around it. Behind the slogans of sustainability, there's a roadmap. Agenda 21 in 1992, Agenda 2030 in 2015, 17 global goals. But like all blueprints, the devil is in the application. The goals sound noble, but here's the concern. They bring food, energy, housing, and travel under international management. Private choices, increasingly shaped by global targets. It's not just about the earth. It's about how society is organized. We're told the earth is under pressure. Too many people, too much consumption. So we're encouraged to drive less, eat less, reproduce less. And across the world, birth rates are falling. Families are shrinking, framed as progress. But it raises a question. What kind of future are we building if fewer people becomes the goal? First came carbon taxes for companies, then national emission limits. Now, it's going personal. Apps already track individual carbon footprints. Pilot programs are in place, some already live. In the name of climate responsibility, a personal score may soon influence how you live. Imagine having to count everything you do. 5 kilograms of CO₂ a day. That's your limit. One t-shirt? That's your whole day, gone in cotton and a logo. Running shoes? That's 3 days. A new phone? That's 2 months. Cosmetic surgery? That's 8 months, or 240 steaks. And your daily makeup? That adds up fast. No lipstick, more meat. An electric car battery? That's almost 3 years, or 1,000 steaks. You gave up meat, but your dog didn't. One pet can cost more than a car-free life. But it's cute, so it doesn't count, right? Plastic toys, party balloons, new clothes every 6 months. You're raising a tiny footprint until you measure it. Or just a laundry cycle, a morning latte, and a bit of scrolling, and you're in the red. And yes, you exhale more CO₂ when you exercise. Maybe that's next. It's not about trees, it's about tracking. It's not just the earth they want to manage, it's you. If this isn't about climate, then what is it really about? And if every part of life is measured, what happens to the parts that can't be? The things we can't quantify, like wonder, like play, like simply being human. So, out of all variables, why focus so heavily on CO₂? Because it's ideal. It's everywhere. It's traceable. And yes, it can be taxed. CO₂ connects to every part of modern life, and that makes it more than a gas. It becomes a tool for regulation, for scoring, for global coordination. And what if CO₂ has become a symbol rather than an explanation? So maybe the real question is, what does this focus on CO₂ actually do to us? In the past, we feared the wrath of the gods. Today, we fear the wrath of the weather. And just like then, the fear serves power. And if they're still clinging to their hockey stick graph, you'd think they'd at least ask, what else changed around 1950? To answer that, we have to look further back. This isn't fiction. This is history. Just the parts no one brings up anymore. Weather control isn't just a modern fantasy. It's something humans have tried for centuries. From ceremonial rain dances to wealthy couples paying for sunshine on their wedding day. Yes, it's a real service, but this isn't just folklore or privilege. It's been around for over a century. Experiments with cloud seeding began in the late 1800s, but it wasn't until the 1950s that it really took off, carried out by aircraft, for farming, for research, and even for military operations. During the Vietnam War, Operation Popeye aimed to extend the monsoon. Today, more than 50 countries conduct weather modification, from silver iodide in Texas to drones in Dubai and to lasers over Germany. There have even been legal cases over who owns the rain. It sounds strange, but it's real. 1952, Lynmouth, England. A sudden flood takes 34 lives. Years later, RAF pilots claimed they'd been conducting weather experiments that very day. It's never been confirmed, never disproven, just forgotten. We've influenced the sky for decades, but mention trails in the sky and you're dismissed. Why is the conversation so one-sided? And while we shape the sky, we're also shaping society. Behavior is measured, movement tracked, decisions nudged, not by nature, but by systems. They say it's to save the planet. But when everything is tracked, is it still about saving Earth? Or Is it about managing humans? If we can change the weather, maybe it's time to change the conversation. CO₂ isn't the enemy, and maybe neither are you. You exhale it, trees inhale it, and somehow that makes you dangerous? Ask questions. Stay curious. Don't just follow the forecast. Follow the facts. We're not saying do nothing, just maybe not this. Maybe the climate doesn't need to be controlled. Maybe we just need to remember how to live with it. To take care of the earth and pass it on the way we'd want to receive it. But real balance isn't easy to monetize or control, so it's rarely part of the plan. Of course the climate changes. It always has. Weather is movement. But that doesn't mean the narrative is honest. They say the science is settled, but nature never settles. And maybe neither should we.